Okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to take it on faith. I really wish I could fucking split this screen with my XSplit. Fuck me. How can I do that? I can't, can I? Why not? What's really going on? No, I don't think I can. Nope. Fuck me. Wait, so I guess it just did it. Alright. Okay, well that's interesting as fuck. Just blow that up. Yeah, I have no idea how I did this. But this is actually what I was looking for. So let's see if we can open this and stream what I got going on, because it'll make it a lot easier if that's really what's happening here. Hold on, come here. I need to blow that up just a little bit because I'm a little blind. Review on the traditional uses, phytochemistry, pharmacology, pharmacokinetics, and toxicology of the genus Peganum. Oh, this is going to be good because it's done by Chinese dudes. Yeah. So, 25 March 2017. This is a pretty timely article, I guess. PDF file of an unedited manuscript that has been accepted for publication. Blah, 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 blah. So this hasn't been published yet, or it may have been published yet. It may have been published already, but I don't know about it. Abstract. The plants of the genus Peganum have a long history as a Chinese traditional medicine for the treatment of cough, hypertension, diabetes, asthma, jaundice, colic, lumbago, and many other human ailments. Additionally, the plants can be used as an amulet against evil eye, die, and so on. Odd that they put die right with evil eye, but yeah, it's absolutely Syrian root makes a fine dye, a couple different colors, which have become increasingly popular in Asia, Iran, Northwest India, and North Africa. Aim of the review. The present paper reviewed the ethno-pharmacology, phytochemistry and analytic methods, biological activities, metabolism, pharmacokinetics, toxicology, and drug interaction of the genus Peganum in order to assess the ethno-pharmacological use and to explore therapeutic potentials and future opportunities for research. That was a fucking mouthful. Materials and methods, blah, 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 results. The genus Peganum has played an important role in traditional Chinese medicine. The main compositions of the genus are alkaloids, flavonoids, and volatile oils, etc. Scientific studies on extracts and formulations revealed a wide range of pharmacological activities, such as cholinesterase and monoamine oxidase inhibitory activities, anti-tumor, anti-tension, anti-hypertension, anticoagulant, anti-diabetic, antimicrobial, insecticidal, antiparadisal, anti-leishmaniasis, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory. And I'm having trouble speaking. Conclusions. Based on the systematic review, the genus Peganum can be used to treat Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, and so on. Some indications from ethnomedicine have been confirmed by pharmacological effects such as the cholinesterase, monoamine oxidase, and DNA topoisomerase inhibitory activities, hypoglycemic and vasodilation effects of this genus, which refers to blood pressure and diabetes. The available literature shows that most of the activities of the genus Peganum can be attributed to the active alkaloids. Data regarding many aspects of the genus, such as mechanisms of actions, metabolism, pharmacokinetics, toxicology, potential drug interactions with standard of care medications, is still limited, which call for additional studies, particularly in humans. Well, yeah, and that's happening more and more every day. Further assessments and clinical trials should be performed before it can be integrated into medicinal practices. keywords, and here we have the fucking paper itself, starting with the introduction. And am I going to? I can actually scroll some. Well, but once I touch the scroll bar, everything goes fucking nuts. Yeah, turbo scroll. What I really should do is just put on some music and scroll this slowly. Well-known perennial herbaceous glabrous plant, blah blah. Several species. Phytochemical studies have resulted in the isolation of more than 308 compounds, including alkaloids, flavonoids, triterpenoids, anthraquinones, phenylpropanols, carbohydrates, amino acids, volatile oils, sterols, vitamins, proteins, carotene, and trace elements. Well, fuck yeah. Most abundant active compounds are beta-carbolines, such as harmaline, harmine, harmalol, harmol, and harmane, and quinazolines, vasicine, vasicinone, deoxyvasicinone, alkaloids. Furthermore, the pharmacological activities of the genus Peganum have been widely investigated, such as anti-Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, a whole bunch of fucking shit. That it's just these compounds are so anti so much shit. It's just fucking phenomenal that this is not a toxic compound, but there are very few reports of toxicity with Peganum, and most of them are due to drug interactions and massive doses. But anyway, and we can talk more about that when we get into like the anecdotal side of Harmala. So I don't think too many people are going to be too interested in the botany. Traditional uses and modern indications. We pretty much we really covered a lot of that just in the list of shit that they spit out, but there's probably some interesting stuff here. Almost all parts of the plants, including seeds, fruit, aerial parts, and full plant of the genus species are reported to exhibit a broad range of traditional properties. Table 1. In traditional medicine, the seeds of the genus Peganum are used as powder decoction, maceration, or infusion for fever, diarrhea, abortion, subcutaneous tumors. Widely used as a remedy for dolorous events. In other words, when you get the shit kicked out of you. Also been used to treat cough, hypertension, diabetes, asthma, jaundice, colic. Fuck, I'm really not interested in just spouting fucking malady after malady after malady that this shit has been used for in the past. But I wouldn't mind finding some specific references to some of these. Like aqueous extract of the seeds is useful for blood purification. A mixture of the seeds with flax seeds and honey has been used for the treatment of dyspnea. The decoction has been used for numbness, lung and liver diseases. The poultice from seeds is beneficial for paralysis, numbness, joint pain, coxalgia, and back pain. Yeah, and sometimes some of these claims are just fucking, it's like hard, dude. Beneficial for paralysis. It's like, can we get a fucking citation on that, please? Anyway, and this is kind of one of the things that just fries my ass about trying to find out about anything these days. Anyway, incense of seeds is used for toothache and repelling mosquitoes. That's interesting. Incense of seeds used for toothache. Now, I wonder how that incense smoke is applied to the teeth. I'm thinking it might be smoked. The seeds of genus Peganum are also used as a disinfectant by burning. Particularly, people in West Asia burn the seeds to make smoke for keeping safe against voodoo. Its smoke has been used as a talisman against evil eye, and the fruits are the source of a red dye and oil. And those are also interesting compounds that have medicinal properties, believe it or not. For modern medicinal applications, numerous studies have revealed anti-this, anti-that, anti-this, reduce the effect of withdrawal syndrome. I'm going to go ahead and fucking ring in on this one. Let me go ahead and read that whole thing. For modern medical applications, numerous studies have revealed anti-AD, anti-PD, antidepressant, anti-tumor, reduce the effect of withdrawal syndrome, anticoagulant, whole fucking more list of anti-this, that, like fucking lines of anti-this, anti-that. But I can speak to anti-inflammatory. Yeah, there's anti-inflammatory and reduce the effect of withdrawal syndrome. I took the shit for 6 months straight after I quit opiates, and it kept me from fucking freaking out. That's a fact. The aqueous extract of seeds has antispasmodic, anticholinergic, antihistaminic, and adrenergic effects. Wow. It also exhibits gastrointestinal activities, including alleviating colic syndrome, blocking different types of intestinal calcium channels, antispasmodic. That's what I figured from the anticholinergic, antihistaminic, and adrenergic effects. But it was probably antispasmodic. Of course, it says it right there, but I skipped over that. As well as hypoglycemic function. Yeah, from what I've read, this stuff is just incredible for diabetes, particularly type 1 diabetes. And by incredible, I mean some people are claiming that it's a cure, but apparently there have been some studies that show it absolutely has a positive effect. So, as far as studies about the phytochemistry of the genus are concerned, compounds beta-carboline, which are the harmaloids, as I call them, harmine, harmaline, tetrahydroharmaline, harmol, harmalol, all the ones that start with harm, and the quinazoline alkaloids, that's referring specifically to the vasicine and vasicinone. Um, and and they predominate. Most of the species from the genus have been studied, and other than the compounds, classes are mentioned in Table 2. Some chemical structures of major compounds that have been isolated in Table 3. All right. Got to kind of take this study with a grain of salt for a couple of reasons. It hasn't been published, so it hasn't really been peer reviewed. And I'm not seeing much of a study here. Of course, we barely cracked into it. There's I hesitate to scroll. There's 157 pages. We're on page 9. So it's obviously fairly in depth, but it's a Chinese study, and that means that even though it's well translated, it's oftentimes the syntax lands more in a Chinese way than in a Western way. So it's the subject-object inversion and all kinds of crazy shit. But so let's see what they have to say about alkaloids here in section 3.1. And I'm going to assume they're talking about the specific alkaloids in Harmala and Peganum, as they're calling it, Peganum Harmala. Alkaloids possess notable biological activities and are considered to be the primary active ingredients in plant-derived medicines. Bam! That's a hell of a fucking sentence right there. Alkaloids possess notable biological activities and are considered to be the primary active ingredients in plant-derived medicines. Bam! Again, mic drop. Peng et al. 2015. Peng said it all. The plants of the genus Peganum are rich in alkaloids. Table 2. I'm not scrolling forward to the tables. Fuck that. And mainly contain two types of alkaloids, beta-carboline and quinazoline, and their analogs, distributed in entire parts of plants from different species. And I'm not going to fucking list them all. Since harmine was isolated from P. harmala in 1941, more than 97 alkaloids have been currently isolated from the genus, and the structures of major alkaloids are summarized in figures 2, 3, and 4. Not doing it. The seeds of Peganum harmala contain about 2 to 7.7% psychologically active alkaloids. 2 to 7.7%. And when I do extractions, I generally find I'm getting yields on the high side of that, 5 to 7%, with the product I've been getting, which are mostly beta carbolines such as harmane, harmine, harmaline, and harmalol. And real quick, let me just interject that in the last video I made, which was the final product video for the harmala hydrochloride extraction, I referred to pure harmala. When I talk about pure harmala, I'm actually talking about broad spectrum carboline that includes several of these beta carbolines as listed, specifically harmine and harmaline, and some tetrahydroharmaline. And you get into things like harmane and harmalol in much lower concentrations, if at all, in rue. They're kind of sort of broad brushing this, but seeds and roots contain the highest levels of alkaloids with low levels in stems and leaves. That's why we generally only deal with the seeds, and absented in flowers. Harmine, harmaline, harmalol, and tetrahydroharmine accumulation reached 4.3, 5.6, 0.6, and 0.1% respectively in dry seeds. Blah, blah, blah. This is really kind of minutia that most people aren't interested in unless you're doing extractions. And if you're doing extractions, then this is very important, because one of the things that we end up doing is separating out the harmine, the harmaline, and occasionally the tetrahydroharmine. The other things, it's like, man, you really got to have your shit together and have a lab and a fucking degree to get down to the nitty gritty on something when it's 0.6% of 0.2% of something, and it's very, very chemically similar to other things. It's really hard to fucking separate that shit out. So, alkaloid contents of the whole plant in period of maturation collected from Xinjiang of China were in the seeds at 3.2%, 7.7%. We're not going to read all that. Several reports indicate a wide spectrum of therapeutic activities for the crude extracts of these alkaloids, such as anti-nociceptive and analgesic effects, vasorelaxant, and hypothermic properties. And I'll leave that Googling up to you. But again, these compounds are just fucking incredible. And vasicine and vasicinone, these are, a lot of people consider these the bad part of rue. And I'll be honest with you, I separate them out from my beta carbolines. These are the quinazolones. I do separate them out from my beta carbolines because they have a different set of effects, and occasionally after effects. What's the fucking word I'm looking for? Bad effects if you take too much, whatever. If you take too much of the quinazolones, you'll have different problems than if you take too much of the beta carbolines. But anyway, and vasicine and vasicinone are the primary culprits in the abortifacient action of rue, because one thing rue seeds, raw rue seeds, and raw rue tea, raw extract, one of the main things it's been used for historically is abortions. So vasicine and vasicinone are the quinazoline alkaloids, which discovered in flowers and stems. They're also in the seeds. Two new beta carboline alkaloids, hermaladine and pegamine. Pegamine is not new, as far as I know. which are similar to the quinazoline alkaloids, have been isolated from the seeds and aerial parts in 2012. Yeah, I'm pretty sure pegamine has been around for longer than 2012. Besides, 7 alkaloids were isolated from the aerial parts of P. multisectum, including deoxyvacicinone. Yeah, well, of course, there are other plants that are going to have these same compounds. So this P. multisectum, is that Peganum multisectum? Another Peganum, apparently. So that other Peganum has a shitload of stuff in it too. Recently, the activity-guided fractionation has led to the isolation of 2 new alkaloids. Oh, wow. Yeah, so I mean, for something that hasn't been studied a whole lot, there's an awful lot of work going on beta-carbolines and the quinazolones, particularly in this Peganum species or genus. New natural products, 3-hydroxylated harmine. Moreover, 10 new alkaloids containing 5 beta-carbolines, 3 quinazolones, and 2 compounds with both of the above skeletons, and 1 amophetric alkaloid with a 4-membered ring were isolated from the ethanol extract of P. harmol in 2016. So, Jesus Christ, 10 new alkaloids isolated in 2016 after the ones in 2012. Furthermore, beta-carboline alkaloids are also naturally present at high concentrations in some other plants, including Passiflora incarnata and Banisterius caapi. So a lot of people are familiar with this as a passion flower or passion fruit, and Banisterius caapi, which is the better known as the Ayahuasca vine. Harmine and harmaline are the main beta-carboline alkaloids, and Banisterius caapi, which is one of the constituents of ayahuasca, a psychotropic beverage, originally used in shamanic rituals of the Amazon basin. And to be honest with you, that's really all the reference to ayahuasca that belongs in a report like this. Because once you get away from quantitative, objective analysis, I mean, sit down and talk to a hippie about this shit. Try to take notes and then fucking understand it later. Good luck. However, some beta-carboline alkaloids, including harmine and norharmine, have been widely reported to occur at lower concentrations in coffee, chocolate, beverages, raw or well-done meat or fish, and cigarette smoke. Harmalol, harmine, and harmaline are naturally present in the samples and are quantified at very low concentrations. Blah, 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 blah. Harmine can also be found as a normal endogenous constituent of some human tissues and body fluids, or as a biomarker of some diseases, including AD and PD, which is interesting to note that we actually, whether or not we produce beta-carbolines in the body, and I think the consensus is that beta-carbolines are produced in the hippocampus, but I don't have the report handy or any citation handy to back that line up. But it's either produced naturally within our body or our body sequesters it for use, because we have systems, we have neurological systems set up, biological systems set up within us that need these beta-carbolines to work. And as you see here, as biomarker of some diseases, the levels of these endogenous beta-carbolines in our systems can indicate one way or the other whether we're likely to be fucked up in one way or another. It's just fucking incredible shit. So again, a lot of this stuff is kind of way above my intellectual pay grade, but my whole gist is to try to show that the average dumb fuck like me can access this kind of stuff and gain some sort of understanding of the options we have other than just going to the fucking doctor and getting handed a pill. And maybe going to the doctor and getting handed a pill is the best thing for an individual at this point in their life, but maybe not. And ignorance is cheap to cure, you know. So anyway, new flavonoid. Fuck me. There's all kinds of new flavonoids. 1998, they discovered new flavonoids named Peganum. All right, that's awesome. Oh, there's a whole fucking huge list of flavonoids. 24 have been isolated. 24 flavonoids have been isolated from the genus of Peganum. Triterpenoids. Now we're getting into fancy words that I don't much understand. But anthraquinones. I know that these are all compounds that have specific effects on the human body, and can either be good or bad. And that's kind of why we do our research, right? But clearly just packed with all kinds of shit. Volatile oils from the aerial part. See, and this is interesting because I'm learning about other species of Peganum, this Peganum nigellastrum and Peganum multisectum. Uh, so I wouldn't mind. Doing some extracts on those just to see what we come up with. Fatty acids. Oh, we're on page 15 of 157. Stay with me, kids. Other compounds. Oh, sterol. Sterol is a common type of compound found in plants. However, only 3 sterols have been isolated from the aerial parts of Peganum multisectum. So nothing about Harmala. And I'm not going to get too much into sterols because I don't know much about sterols. Trace elements, iron, manganese, copper, zinc, and calcium. Well, okay. Vitamin C proteins. Wow, P-Harmala protein, PHP, is a fucking vitamin C. Carotene, hyacinth seeds and lowison roots. The curative effect of the 132 Kd protein isolated from the seeds of Peganum harmala was evaluated against carbon tetrachloride-induced oxidative stress in rats. The isolated protein possessed strong antioxidant activity comparable to that of bovine serum albumin and vitamin C, which is pretty. I've read a bit about about uh, about the antioxidant properties of vitamin C. And bovine serum albumin, I know, is something that a lot of bodybuilders are taking. I don't know. I spend 10 minutes reading one of these studies, and it automatically generates 30 hours worth more research that I need to do. So I know this really seems like I'm sort of skimming, but whatever. Fuck it. This is just my method of learning, and you guys are along for the ride, I guess. And please, I welcome any and all input. Analytical methods. All right. So they use thin layer chromatography, which is basically like paper chromatography, which you or I or any fucking Gomer can do. High pressure thin layer, and high performance liquid, ultra performance capillary. No, we can't do really any of this stuff except for thin layer chromatography, which is basically stain a piece of paper and watch where the stain goes. A little bit more to it than that, but so I'm sure there's HPLC and mass spec. This is all going to be sort of fucking wavelengths of the mass spec. Yeah, this is over my fucking head. Spectroscopic methods aim to focus on revealing the relationship between spectroscopy and the chemical constituents under analysis. In other words, keep fucking going. TLC. Okay, this is the only one that really I would feel comfortable trying as a layman would be thin layer chromatography. And I don't know, 2 markers, harmaline and harmine, were separated on a silica gel plate. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, big fucking deal. Harmine was found. Main advantages. Yeah, okay. I'm going to scroll through this slowly, slowly, slowly. I really need to have some music in the background. Moreover, triple quadrupole TQ, quadrupole ion trap QIT, and quadrupole time of fight QTOF instruments are also mainly used for the genus Peganum analyses because these methods can provide advanced structural information. Fucking blah blah blah. I keep telling myself if I read this kind of thing often enough, someday I'll just fucking magically understand what it's talking about rather than spending 12 years in fucking college getting a master's degree just so I can fucking wrap my head around it. It's not working well so far. Well, all right, hold on. Um, yeah, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and end this stream. We can always pick it up again, but I'm going to end this and go back and take a look and see if any of this fucking saved. So everybody have a fucking great time.